Guys, I'm tell you right now, you might as well get comfortable in your spot, in your seat. Get some juice, some orange juice, cranberry juice, whatever, apple juice, all of it. Snacks, popcorn, Pop-Tarts, whatever you want. Candy, go get it because today's gonna be a chill day, okay? A chill day, a relaxing day, alright? We're not doing none of that horror games, no Minecraft today, but tomorrow we're playing I forgot the name of the game, but it's right here on the screen. You see it, right? We're playing it tomorrow. So, what's up? Like I said, guys, it's been a chill day. Watch some anime stories, anime horror stories at that. Now I don't know, this might turn to a weekly thing. I don't know. We'll see how it does. How you guys like it? But if you like it, let me know. We'll keep doing it. So, without further ado, let's go and get to it. Alright, so this story is called The Woman Animated. So, let's get into it. Let's go.
This video is sponsored by Skillshare. More details at the end of the video.
Skip this. Oh, okay. Never mind. We're in.
It was a late, moonless, snowy night. I heard the chilling cry of a bobcat as I arrived home from my parents' house, where we had just had Thanksgiving dinner in northern Michigan. Exhausted, I had finally made it to my bed when my pregnant girlfriend asked for nacho cheese munchies. Reluctantly, I laced up my boots and went to my car.
Did you just get home from
work? Due to the cold, it took me a while to start the car, which only made me more irritated. But eventually I got it started, and I arrived at the convenience store to retrieve my girlfriend's mandated snacks. As I left the store, walking back towards my car, I saw a shadow of movement out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah, that's something crawling, buddy.
What looked like a person stood near the dumpster, just out of the light. I stepped towards the figure, and she looked at me with a giant, sinister smile.
Pause. Listen to me, man. If you ever see something crawling in the dark, and as you're out and about, do not go towards that thing. Not walk forward. Don't not look forward. Don't walk towards it. Don't even look at it. You see it? Oh, we saw it. Do you see it anymore? It's gone. Don't worry about it. Alright, because if you eat it, you can get bodied. If you end up dead with your neck bit off, what you gonna do? Huh? You can be dead. Dead.
Face was so weathered, it looked like she had cracks all over her face. She was crouched down and appeared to be chewing on something. I looked to see what she was chewing on. To my surprise, it was a severed arm.
Oh my gosh.
Old, as if it had been rotting for weeks.
I
saw her glance at something in her pocket. I could see the outline of what looked like a pocket knife. As soon as I looked back up, she quickly charged me.
What are you doing?
I pushed her away and then ran back to the convenience store. I burst through the door and frantically yelled towards the cashier to call the police as I turned to lock it. He asked me, "What's going on?" I scowled at him and said, "Please, just call the cops." I looked back outside and saw the woman had moved across the street and was still scrutinizing me as she maintained her malevolent grin. "Look, there's a girl out there who's trying to kill me." Looking over me, he replied, "I don't see anyone out there, sir." Those words shook me, even to this day. When the police reached the gas station, they began looking around for the woman while one of the officers asked me what had happened, and I told him the details of the encounter. One of the officers came back and said he couldn't find anything. I then took them back to where I first noticed her.
Oh no.
We spent a few minutes intently searching, but there was no proof she was ever even there.
He's seeing stuff.
The officer cocked his head and looked at me as if I was deranged and asked me in a judgmental tone,
"Are you on drugs?
Are you feeling okay?"
Typical
I was about to defend myself, and then I started to think. I am tired, and I have had a couple of drinks, so I just told him...
You're not going to be seeing a woman eating an arm if you're drunk, buddy. If you're tipsy, you're not going to be seeing that.
and then I drove home. I got home at around 4 o'clock in the morning. My girlfriend greeted me with an angered but concerning tone of voice. She asked me,
"Where were you? Are you okay?"
So I told her everything that happened. Of course, she didn't believe me. I couldn't get to sleep that night. I sat in my bed questioning my sanity, wondering if it was all even real. Am I crazy? Maybe I'm just tired. But no, that can't be it. I saw it. But if I saw it, why was there no proof? Where did the arm go? Where did she go?
Where did the blood go?
Before I knew it, it was 7 in the morning, and I had to go to work. I threw on my jacket as I was about to head to the construction site, and I put my hand in my pocket and noticed that there was a hole in it. It wasn't there the other day. I thought, what if she caught my jacket as I ran? Which further proves my suspicion that she was real. I couldn't believe it. My mind completely went wild until my girlfriend kissed me goodbye. I told my friends at work what had happened, and they didn't believe me either. They made jokes about it the entire day, but I had my bowling tournament that day, so that gave me something to look forward to.
Bowling tournament?
I got home and hung my vest and jacket up and rapidly put on my bowling shoes and got my bowling ball. My girlfriend looked at me with a pleasant smile and said,
"When will you be back?"
Don't worry
Probably
about it,
around
man.
11.
I'll be back when I'll be back. All right.
Don't be long.
You stay home. You rest.
Don't worry.
Okay.
At around 10:30, the tournament had finally finished, and we had won. I was so thrilled I had forgotten about the woman. As we were leaving, I noticed something at the other end of the parking lot. It was that psychotic woman.
It's a freaking woman.
We stared at each other for what felt like an eternity. She slowly started moving towards me while waving her knife in the air and making cuts. I quickly jumped into my car and turned it on. As I looked up, I saw she was standing in front of me, staring at me. She slowly walked over to my window, and she said in a quiet, deep, and scratchy voice,
Little pig, let me in.
What do you think this
frozen in
is?
fear, but I
Think of a
snapped
pig
back
that
to
big bad wolf?
reality when she banged on the roof of my car, screaming. I quickly slammed my foot on the accelerator and didn't let off it until I couldn't see her anymore.
Bro, forget all that.
When I arrived home, I told my girlfriend what had happened. Like last time, she didn't believe me. I really thought I was insane, but I tried to forget about it and get some sleep. Later that night, I woke up and saw her in my room. All she said was, "Let me in," over and over as she got closer. She then started shouting,
Let me in, let me in, let me in! Let me in!
Come on, Paul. Stop being difficult.
Let me in!
Oh,
I was
no.
wondering how in the world my girlfriend hadn't heard this going on.
Oh, no. That's giving me
The woman
chills,
was
man.
right next to me and held up a knife to me.
That's giving me
That's when
chills.
I fainted. I woke startled in my room, dripping with sweat. Then I remembered I don't have a girlfriend, nor a house, or a family.
What?
Come on, Paul. Time for your morning meds. Let me in.
Whoa. Yo. That was the biggest twist I've ever seen. Oh my gosh. Alright. Okay. Alright. Okay. But look, this one's called, if she asks you this one question, always answer no. So, let's get into it.
What a pleasant way to begin my 3 AM shift at Mercy Hospital. The first thing I did as I sat down was cut my finger. It was a paper cut. And despite working at one of the largest hospitals in the state, I couldn't find a single band-aid laying around. I sucked on my index finger like a vampire while I scrambled my desk for that band-aid. I found one. purple. I'm a hospital receptionist, and all that means is I greet visitors, make appointments, and look nice. Well, as nice as a 30-year-old man who hasn't slept in hours can look. That night, as we call it, it was just me and a few nurses on the floor. Other than that, it was ghost quiet, except for the heavy rain. I sat back on the cheap recliner chair all receptionists get the honour of using. While adjusting my band-aid, I listened to the television mounted on the corner of the ceiling as it broadcasted a seemingly important message.
Authorities say the woman was last seen on Cedar Avenue.
I looked up to see if the television was showing any images of this strange woman. None. It was yet another crazy person with no name and no face who we were supposed to look out for. Not creepy at all.
Authorities also say the woman was
creepy. What do you
reportedly
mean?
walking around and asking people very, very bizarre questions.
Like a man.
I focused back on my desk and continued working, but I still listened as the news anchor went on and on. She continued.
The following statement was issued by an unidentified government official.
Listen carefully, folks. Whatever she asks you, answer no. Do not, under any circumstances, answer yes.
Officials won't comment further as to why, citing security
What?
clearance. Please are asking that you immediately call 911 if you deem anyone suspicious.
I thought that part of the coverage was quite odd, but I wasn't sure anything could scare me anymore.
Don't
Working
say
here at the
yes.
hospital, I thought I had seen it all.
Okay.
At the flash of the ruby red ambulance lights, I've seen people come in with severed arms, legs, fingers, people who somehow managed to scoop out their eyes, failed suicide attempts, and much, much more. You get used to it. My head was practically
I feel like
sunk
this
into
guy's
my
talking
desk as
too
I filled out
fast.
paperwork.
Please slow
That's when
down.
I heard something very subtle, initially. I heard it coming from the front doors, the entrance. The automatic doors opened and closed, slamming against each other and sounding an obnoxiously loud thud each time. The very dim lighting I had surrounding my desk flickered incessantly. Hello? I called
It's
out,
a ghost,
seated
bro.
behind the safety of my desk. Only the whistling wind responded. Hello? I called out again. I felt obligated to check if someone was there, especially since it might have been someone who was injured and needed our attention. I reluctantly picked myself up from my chair and walked over to inspect. I nearly slipped and cracked my head open as the entrance floor was almost flooded from the rain. I noticed footsteps, wet shoe marks that seemed to come inside the hospital and then back out. I stood near the doors, poking my head outside, and looked. All I heard was the distant
Mercy Hospital.
sounds of sirens and
Oh,
honking cars.
hey, that's some Left 4 Dead. Mercy Hospital. Wow, that's the Easter egg right there. I hope it is. I mean, if not,
The rain poured harder.
I would
The
say.
peace and quiet was disturbed within moments of me sitting back down. The automatic door started again, opening and closing, slamming shut, and letting in more rain as they did. But this time, I heard gentle footsteps make their way towards me, tapping closer and closer. Someone slowly emerged from the darkness between the entrance and front desk. A woman
Oh,
with drenched black
no.
hair approached, wearing a dark brown raincoat and a pair of boots that were too large for her toothpick legs. Her face was inundated with wrinkles and wet makeup. Her black eyeshadow smudged. Despite the heavy rain outside, she didn't seem to have bothered wearing her hoodie. Hello, how can I help you, ma'am? She didn't respond. She looked around, scanning and observing an unimpressive hospital. Is there something I can help you with? Still nothing. We engaged in a brief stare down, which she won. I looked down and pretended to gather important paperwork. Are you here to visit someone? Then finally, she responded, without talking. She simply nodded and then took a few steps forward, her hands hanging down her side. Her posture was unnatural, almost uncomfortable. Okay, for now I need you to sign here, then you'll have to wait a few hours for visiting time to begin, I said, pushing forward a sheet of paper and a pen. She raised her arm to sign and then abruptly stopped. She seemed startled by something on the desk. She looked at me, tilted her head and, with a smile that was as wide as her eyes, said, "Would you please move that for me?" I was confused at first,
move what?
and then she pointed at it with her index finger. As drops of rainwater tapped against my desk while her
No,
arm
do
hovered
not move
over
that
it.
cross.
I took the little crucifix we had at the
Do
front
not
desk
move
and put
that
it in a
cross.
drawer. The woman proceeded as if she was going to finally sign the paper and then stopped before writing anything. She dropped the pen on the ground and stood there again, staring at me. She asked me a question.
Do you reject the Trinity?
I'm sorry, I replied. For a few more uncomfortable moments, the woman stood there, like an ancient statue. I had no idea what she meant by the question. Ma'am, who exactly are you here to see? Family? Friend? What's your relationship with the patient? Before I could finish talking midway through my question, the woman turned around and walked out the door, still smiling and her eyes as wide as I'd ever seen on a person. I went back to work and tried to move on, but her creepy mannerisms were trapped in my mind throughout the night. At around 4 AM I spotted one of the children in our hospital walking down the hall. Nina, is that you? I called out. All the kids in the hospital knew me. I was proudly considered one of the cooler employees. I let them break the rules. I brought them snacks upstairs and even told them scary stories, despite their predictable regret later on. The nurses would get angry with me every time I held one of my scary story nights. They always had a bunch of bed sheets to change the next morning. I only did these things for the kids when I wasn't busy, when it was a quiet night, and this was one of those uneventful nights, which of course was a good thing. Anyway, it was very odd to see Nina awake at that time, walking down those shadowy halls. She was absolutely terrified of the dark, and yet there she was. "Nina, is that you?" I squinted my eyes as I walked towards her.
Sorry, Matt.
She began.
I don't want to be there anymore.
She had dragged her blue blanket along with her, which was her way of gesturing to
That
us
is a
that she wanted
demon.
to move to another
I'm
room.
telling you, it's a
"You have
demon
kids
right
bothering you
in that
again?"
hospital
I
with you,
asked.
man. It's a
I
demon.
took hold of her hand and began walking her back to the elevator.
Matt, please, don't make me go back up there. I don't like the new nurse.
I stopped walking. "What?" I said, kneeling to Nina's level.
She keeps asking us the same question over and over. I said no so many times. I keep telling her no, but everyone else kept laughing with her and saying yes to her. Please, I don't want to go back up.
Nina's words immediately played flashbacks inside my tired, overworked mind. Something about a strange woman going around and asking even stranger questions. I didn't pay enough attention to that broadcast to notice the woman, but even if I had, I thought she had left the hospital. I ditched the elevator and ran up a flight of daunting stairs, stomping against each step with all the force I could muster. I probably woke up all those sleeping employees. I was so loud. I opened the door to the children's room and couldn't believe my eyes. I checked each room, each one on each floor. I woke up my co-worker nurse and asked about the children. She couldn't find them either. We looked everywhere and put the hospital on lockdown. We set off all possible alarms and other emergency procedures. We didn't find them. All that was left behind were their clothes.
She took them. She took them. They're gone. They're gone. How do you kids disappear like that? It's just gone out thin air. It's gone. Like what? Alright guys. Alright. Okay. Next one.
I used to work the graveyard shift at a Dunkin Donuts. For those of you who don't know what a Dunkin Donuts is, it's basically a donut chain that sells coffee, breakfast items, and of course, donuts. This brings me to a little over a month ago when our location was recently selected to become 24 hours. A lot of other establishments would maintain a 24-hour drive-through window, but ours was fully open. I'll be honest, it was interesting to see the new types of customers who would come in during these hours. We of course had the hipsters and goths who had nothing better to do at 3 a.m. than to sit in a coffee shop drinking 1 cup for an hour.
And Steven Universe.
There were the occasional overworked businessmen and interns trying desperately to finish that last-minute presentation. A couple weeks ago, I had encountered a new type of customer, though he is very difficult to describe. Have you ever met someone that makes you nervous for some unknown reason? Well, at around 2:30 a.m., a man walked in with a large overcoat, with the collar pulled up, and a black beanie on his head. What struck me as odd first was the lack of people in our lobby. Normally at this time, we'd have the goths huddled in the corner cursing the system or something. But the entire store was empty aside from this man, myself, and my manager who was in the back. Probably sleeping or something.
Hey, homeboy. Manager, come through me real quick so they handle business real quick. Talk to this dude.
Trying to escape the cold and possibly seek out a hot cup of pity. But then I saw his face. He was somewhat gaunt, but cleanly shaven.
It's like a baby.
His eyes had dark circles around them as if he were tired, but he seemed quite energized. He then walked up to the counter. At that moment, I realized how tall this guy was.
It's like
Kobe tall.
Bro.
I asked him what he would like to order.
Like LeBron tall, Yao Ming, look at him.
Ahead as if he were zoning out. I repeated my question a bit louder. He only said one word.
Nah, man.
Coffee.
Yeah, you get coffee and get out of my shop, bro. Get out of here with that stuff, man. I don't want that.
The man then leaned down and looked me in the eye.
Why is he leaning like that?
And asked me if I was alone. I told him I wasn't, that my manager was in the back room. He then pulled out a few crumpled up dollar bills, handed it to me, and then walked back out of the door without taking his coffee with him. As soon as he left the building, I felt this intense atmosphere lift up from around me. I was at a loss for words, to be honest. I quickly rushed to the back and told my manager about the whole situation, to which he told me to put the man's money aside in case he comes back for it. The next night, everything was back to normal. The usual customers sat in their respective seats, sipping their coffee. While I was keeping myself busy and mopping the floor, I couldn't help but think about the interaction I had last night. That's when I happened to look out of our front window. And I saw him.
Hey man, come get your
He
coffee.
was standing across
It's
the
sitting
street
getting
under a
cold.
streetlight. He was just standing there staring at me. I turned to see if my manager was behind the counter, and when I looked back, he was gone. At that point, I was starting to feel unnerved. My last night working there was the worst by far. And also the reason I quit. I had arrived at work and relieved the people working before me. That's when I received a call from my manager telling me that he had a family emergency and would be a few hours late.
Oh my god.
I was upset, but there wasn't much I could do, so I just said alright.
It's how you die.
After 3 uneventful hours
It's
of
how
me
you
cleaning
die.
the same racks over and over
It's how
again
you
to keep
die.
my mind off things, I glanced out of the window once more. What I saw made my blood turn to ice. The man was standing on the other side of the window.
no.
He was grinning at me with a sinister smile that caused my body to seize up.
Oh no.
Right away, I pulled out my cell phone and called the police. While my phone was ringing, the man did something strange. Without peeling his eyes from the glass, he pulled out a cell phone from his pocket. I watched him carefully as he began to type something into the phone without even looking at it. At that moment, my phone buzzed, notifying me of a text. The message said, "Now you're alone."
First. So is he dead? Okay. Well, it's kind of confusing, but I mean, wow. I don't know what to say about that. I really don't. But look, guys, don't forget, man, to like, comment, subscribe, and share if you can, please. You know. If you want me to do this again, let me know. I definitely will. I mean, I like doing it. It's a chill day. I'm relaxing today. Just got from practice a couple hours ago. I'm just chilling today. So that being said, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead out. I will see you guys tomorrow. I want to play that one game that starts with a T. I don't know what it's called. I forgot. But without further ado, guys, don't forget, have a good day. Stay blessed. And I'm out.